Doing a mic check. Thank you.
Pates, are we ready to start in about 2 minutes? Pates, are we ready to go? Okay, seeing it's 9:59, are we ready? I don't know that anyone can hear me. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So seeing that it's 9:59, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. This meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be available on YouTube after or while it's happening. At this time, Ms. Kirkland, will you please lead the group in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this point, we will have the election of the chair. I open the floor to nominations for the chair.
I nominate Rachel Kirkland as chair.
I second.
I have a first and a second to nominate Rachel Kirkland for chair. Any other nominations? All in favor to nominate Rachel Kirkland for chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Rachel Kirkland is the new chair. I will now turn the meeting over to Rachel Kirkland.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saunders. All right, I am going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
Madam Chair, can you please?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, electronic participation, very sorry. I'd like to get somebody a motion for electronic participation from a remote location by a school board member.
I move to approve electronic participation from a remote location by school board member.
I second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, motion carries. All right, now to the election of the vice chair. I was just so excited by that, I had to just keep going. All right, I open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I move to elect Paul Alexander for vice chair.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. See no other nominations. Can I go ahead and, okay, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See no opposition, motion carries. All right, new business. Setting dates and times of the 2022-2023 school board meetings. Does anyone have any discussion before I get started? Okay. I noticed that our October meetings are a little off. They're not the 1st and 3rd. And I talked to Dr. Saunders about it. And she's going to be gone on the 3rd for the first work session, but I think she could probably remote in. I think that's completely permissible. I think it's important to stay on the 1st and 3rd, just for consistency, since we all have things outside of school board. So I would like to propose to the group that we pass the draft with the amendment to it that our meetings for October will be on October 3rd and October 17th instead of the 10th and 24th. Does anyone have any issue with that?
No.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So can someone make a motion to that effect?
Move to approve the proposed school board meeting agenda for our meeting schedule for 2022 to 2023 with the provision of the moving of October 10th to October 3rd and October 24th to the 17th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No, see no opposition. That one carries. School board member appointments to committees. I think we're going to do this since we're down one person and we have a brand new member to our board, Ellen over here. I think we are going to do like we did last year, which is I would like everyone to review our committee appointments and then to message back and forth to me about your interests. I'll go ahead and set up what everyone's going to do for the next year. And then we can pass it in consent at our one of our August meetings. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Madam Chair, is it possible to get a quick summary of just since Carlos is not here, what
Of course.
what the liaison of Parks and Rec's position entails?
So I'd have to ask him how many times it meets. I did it myself early on in my career here on the board. At the time, it was nothing more than quarterly meetings to kind of, and you represented the school system to just have some synergy to what Parks and Rec was doing with their programming and to just kind of be aware and impact, regarding impacts to our students. It's not a deep requirement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm honestly not sure how often it meets. I can see if I can get, I know Dr. Grasser works closely with Parks and Rec, so maybe she can reach out and see what the level of activity is on that particular committee and get back to us. I know the other ones meet on a fairly regular schedule. I'm just going to pull it up here. The SPED regional has been meeting less since they're restructuring that. Social Services Advisory Board is meets monthly, and I think we'll check with Stacy to see if she wants to keep that. The Gov School, obviously be discussed as a 2-year term, and it's my term coming up. And then, the delegate and alternate to VSBA, which historically has been the chair and the vice chair.
Right.
We can arm wrestle for that one later, Mr. Alexander. But just, take a look at it, see what you're interested in. In a perfect world, everyone would be on one. Mr. Alexander is continuing as on the Gov School Board of Directors because they're a 2-year term and they overlap. So,
Do we know who's leading or who's chairing this year for Gov School?
this year it's Manassas, and then the following year, and this year we're vice chair. So
Right.
I think I agreed to take that, and then the following year
Yes.
it will be us as we loop around again. Okay.
Okey-dokey.
Okie dokie. All right. So just take that under advisement. Please reach out if you have any questions. about the various assignments and, what you're comfortable doing with your schedules, and we will get this passed in August under consent. All right. With that, upcoming meetings, our regular school board meeting was listed here as TBD, but we now know it is Monday, August 1st, 2022 at 6:59 p.m. Right here in the school board meeting room. Do we have any comments from the board members? Okay. Seeing no further business before us at the organizational meeting, I'm going to go ahead and call us adjourned for this meeting and just take a 5-minute recess before we get the next one going. Okay? All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. So 5 minutes, and then we'll get the next one going. I said 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order with a reminder to silence your electronic devices. Also, this meeting is being audio and video recorded for both cable and YouTube. Ms. Williams, can I get a roll call vote?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Paul Alexander?
Oh, you can't do him yet. We haven't.
Oh, right, we can't do you yet. He went back to silent. You went back to silent. Miss Shantae Jones?
Here.
Miss Ellen Slobodnik?
Here.
Miss Rachel Kirkland?
Here. All right. Now, can I get a motion on electronic participation from a remote location by a school board member?
Motion to approve electronic participation from remote location by school board member.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Mr. Alexander, you are now part of the meeting. Ms. Williams, since we just did the pledge, could we forgo that? Thank you. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda? I believe we do have one. So 5B isn't senior stories right now. Are we doing that or not? Oh, we are doing that. Should we amend that to senior stories and senior story scholarships and retirees? Okay, so we just need to amend it to senior stories, scholarships, and retirees acknowledgements. Can I get a motion to that effect?
Motion to approve the change to senior stories, scholarships, and retirees.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Seeing no opposition, motion carries. Now that we've made those corrections, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, motion carries. I don't know what it is about summer, but we lose our muscle memory, don't we? All right, moving on to the consent agenda. I know everyone's had a chance to review everything under consent. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, that motion carries. Public hearing on ESSER funds. You know, I couldn't find the language under here for opening the meeting, but I'm just going to freestyle it. I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to open the public hearing on ESSER local plan funds.
Move to open the public hearing on ESSER local plan funds.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Williams, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Does anyone in the room wish to go ahead and sign up to speak at this time on local ESSER funds? All right. Seeing no speakers for the public hearing, can I get a motion to close that public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing on ESSER local plans funds.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, that motion carries. All right, public comments. Let me just read this before we get started. Individuals who wish to address the school board during public comments time should sign the list maintained on the desk in front of the school board clerk prior to the start of a regular board meeting. Each person is to provide their name and Manassas Park City address, or if staff of Manassas Park City Schools, job title, and work location. Each person is allotted 3 timed minutes to make comments. All right. Mrs. Williams, do we have anyone signed up for public comments?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Who's our first
I'm
speaker?
going to call up Sam Bergeron.
Okay. And you just go right over there.
You let me know when to start? My name's Sam Bergeron. I'm an adapted curriculum teacher at MPMS, and just so we're clear, I'm gay. I got married in January 2021, and I've been harassed in my workplace ever since, to the point where it is no longer a safe working environment. I attempted to share my story with Dr. Saunders, and she made clear something that's been coming to fruition all year. She said she can't focus on my needs, she has to focus on the needs of the community. Under her leadership, it's clear teachers are no longer a part of the Manassas Park community. Does it matter that I applied to this school system when I was just a teenager? That I have spent 8 years, 30% of my life teaching your kids? That I've spent my summers teaching ESY and 3 hours a day, every day after school, teaching our medically homebound population? It doesn't matter to Dr. Saunders, she made that clear. I am not a part of your community. But I am here today to ask a favor. The environment at MPMS is one that has left me degraded, humiliated, and destroyed my mental health, leading to an inability of me to provide for my students the way they deserve. This district has not met its requirements to provide me with the workplace conditions mandated
Can we stop
in my
for-
contract.
Yes,
The
yeah.
microphone is not on. I'm sorry, Sam.
Oh,
The
jeez.
microphone is not turned on, and so I want to go back and make sure that we have the microphone in front of you needs.
It is on. It is on. It's on.
I stopped you.
I want to make sure that everything is heard, so I want to give you a moment.
You know what? Pizza's ringing right now. The microphone's on, it's just not going to go.
No, it just went black.
Okay, can you try to turn it back on and test it?
Do you want?
After it gets picked up on the recording.
Yeah, I know. She absolutely can.
I gave her number 2.
She has number 2.
Yeah, this one went. Here, take that one back over there. Ready?
Can you hear me?
Dr. Saunders, could you hear her? Say it again, Sam.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you want me to just start over?
Please, and we're.
Okay to start? You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
My name's Sam Bergeron. I'm an adaptive curriculum teacher at MPMS, and just so we're clear, I'm gay. I got married in January 2021, and I've been harassed in my workplace ever since, to the point where it's no longer a safe working environment. I attempted to share my story with Dr. Saunders, and she made clear something that's been coming to fruition all year. She said she can't address my needs, she has to address the needs of the community. It's clear under her leadership, teachers are no longer a part of the Manassas Park community. Does it matter that I applied to this school system when I was just a teenager, that I spent 8 years, 30% of my life here? I spent my summers teaching ESY and 3 hours a day, every day after school, teaching our medically homebound population. It doesn't matter to Dr. Saunders, she made that clear, I am not a part of your community. But I am here today to ask a favor. The environment at MPMS is one that has left me degraded, humiliated, and destroyed my mental health, leading to an inability of me to provide for my students the way that they deserve. This district has not met its requirements to provide me with the workplace conditions mandated in my contract. So I'm asking that you write me a letter to release me from my contract should I resign, so that I might be the wonderful teacher that I am to a new group of students. When I requested a hostile work investigation, I assumed it would be solved before I had to decide my plans for next year. It didn't begin until weeks after my request. It actually sits open to this day with no resolution. Dr. Saunders refused to put this on your agenda, and that's because leaders can be assessed based on when they show up. She showed up for my crew one day, a sunny day, the Special Olympics, the perfect photo op. Working with my population for so long, it's very clear to identify the leaders who will always and only show up when my kids are going to make them look good in a picture. But strong leadership shows up on the difficult, rainy, challenging days. This has been nearly every day for me for so many months as I have fought to keep my program and myself alive. Dr. Saunders is refusing to show up, so I am asking you, please, show up for me and my students now when it matters most. She asked why I would sign my contract if I were so unhappy. This question shows how little she knows about me. I know some of you have taken the time to get to know me, my program, and my students, and you understand why I would fight until the last possible moment to stay with my crew whom I love at a job for which I have more passion than could ever be expressed in 3 minutes. It is this love I have that brings me here today. Trust me, I wouldn't be asking you to let me leave if I felt like I could be the best person to serve my students, but at some point, I have got to serve myself. I spend 7 hours a day ensuring the safety of your children. Help me ensure mine. This school system has boasted about the care it's put into mental health. Your superintendent made it clear she cares more about filling classrooms with bodies than ensuring those bodies have safe environments. That is not what's best for kids. I begged Dr. Saunders to take my mental health into consideration. After speaking with her, it was obvious if I put my needs before the needs of this district, I would lose my teaching license. In an attempt to care for my mental health, I was met with a threatening demeanor from your superintendent. Please keep in mind your teachers doing some of the most meaningful and challenging work are still just human beings. Some kids dream of being astronauts or race car drivers, and I showed up to career day at 7 years old dressed as a teacher because this is all I have ever wanted to do. Please don't take that away from me because I can't do it for you. Please give me the opportunity to grow and thrive as an educator again, even if it cannot be here in Manassas Park.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Williams, do we have anyone else signed up for public comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, Debbie Bergeron.
Okay.
You can take my name off the list. I think she said everything that you...
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. All right. All right. So, any more public comments? Anyone else in the room wish to make some public comments? All right. Seeing no further public comments, I'm going to go on to new business policies, first readings. Mr. Lyons, I believe you're taking that one for today.
Morning,
Good morning.
Madam Chair, members of the board. This morning I'm here to speak before you regarding the updates and changes to policies posted by the VSBA. I ask that you review the updates, and should you have any questions, please email Mr. Neff, and he will respond to the entire board prior to presenting them for the second reading in August.
Perfect. All right. Just to loop our new colleague in, these first readings are policy changes that are coming down. Usually they're from or adapted from VSBA, the Virginia School Board Association. It is usually a very lengthy reading, but you invariably will have questions as you go through it. So everyone benefits, and so we're not asking the same questions and overstressing our staff. We like to just have emails sent to Mr. Neff, who coordinates this aspect of the work, and he will respond to all of us to make sure that we're all have like the same information, if that makes sense. Okay. Does anybody else have any more comments about the process for first readings? I know you're still fairly new, but I think you've got it now.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, so next up is senior stories. Thank you, Mr. Lyons, sorry. Next up is senior stories, scholarships, and retirees, yes. I should be looking, Beth O'Connell's right there. Hi, Beth.
I think we'll do retirees first.
Fantastic.
All right, well, good morning. Good morning. That's different, Madam Chair, members of the board. Today we'd like to take a moment to recognize our retirees from the school division this year. We have Beth O'Connell joining us on the screen today. The other ones were not able to be with us because they were starting their holiday weekend plans early. But I think it's important to highlight the numerous contributions they've made to our school division and to our students over the course of many years. The work of an educator in any form has a lasting impact on our students for the rest of their lives. For years to come, these retirees will be talked about by our students as some of their favorite teachers, librarians, bus drivers. Please join me in congratulating our retirees. We have Darlene Bedford, an administrative assistant from central office, Karen Griffith, bus driver, Tamara Peterson, special education teacher at Manassas Park High School, Patty Swan, fourth grade teacher at Manassas Park Elementary School, and on the screen there, we have Beth O'Connell, the media specialist at Manassas Park Middle School. Now, since they couldn't be with us today, they can't see what we are going to be sending to them. Beth, you're going to get a little preview. To give them something to remember their time, we will be sending them these bells. So when you get this, Beth, just be aware this is very heavy. And it does come with a dinger, and you can ding it. And so they'll all receive this to remember their time, and it will have their name on here as well as our logo and everything there. So we want to thank them for their tireless dedication to our students and wish them the best in retirement.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from either of our board members? If not, I can throw some in. I'd like to thank the retirees for all their service. Many of those names I have known as a parent. Beth, I know as a colleague. Being a library media specialist myself, you and I
are the unsung heroes of our schools. And I remember your time at Manassas Park Middle School so fondly, and just thank you for all the support that you have given to all of our students coming through their education at the middle school. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful retirement, as I do all of our retirees. So thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time to be here today. And now you can go get into like the casual clothes because you don't have to dress up anymore. All right, moving on to senior stories. That would be Mr. Forrest, Mrs. Williams, and Mrs. Pitts.
All right. Good morning. So thank you for this opportunity to share some of our senior stories from this year. Each time we have the opportunity to speak on behalf of our graduates who overcome obstacles and challenges, I feel that we open a small window into the high school and display the amazing efforts of our staff and, more importantly, our students. So this morning I'll give a brief overview of our senior class, and then Ms. Pitts and Ms. Williams will share some of the individual stories of our seniors. So, on a beautiful sunny Saturday of June 4th, 2022, we had 251 Manassas Park High School seniors become graduates. Almost 60% of our graduates earned an advanced studies diploma, so that was quite an accomplishment. In our senior survey, 5 graduates indicated they would go directly into the armed forces, and 19% of our graduates plan on entering the workforce right away. 78% of our graduates indicated that they planned on furthering their education after high school, with about 35% of them choosing a 4-year college to attend and 44% choosing a 2-year school or trade school to attend after graduation. The class of 2022 was quite accomplished in earning scholarships and grants to aid them in their educational pursuits. Collectively, our graduates earned over $1,754,000 in grants and scholarships. And honestly, I feel that that number is probably a little bit low because it's based on self-reporting, but they did a phenomenal job, and that was an amazing accomplishment for our senior class. One of the great highlights of our graduation ceremony is always our student speakers. They always encapsulate so well the experiences of the senior class, and this year was no exception. Both of our student speakers described how, quote, everyone's journey is different, end of quote. No matter, no one has the same path, will end up in the same destination. That was a common theme that they both shared with us, and that is certainly true of the class of 2022. So Ms. Pitts and Ms. Williams will now share some of those unique journeys of our students, how they have overcome obstacles to achieve their goal of graduation.
Good morning. This is always one of my most favorite times of years. I'll try not to get emotional, but I do get emotional, so if I do, I apologize. As you guys know, I've been in Manassas Park for a long time, so you get to know the students that come to the park, and that's why sometimes it's a little bit difficult to come up here and, have to say goodbye, and but it's always wonderful to have to tell their story. So the first student I want to talk about, she actually came to us during the pandemic, so I really did not get to know her until the beginning of this school year, which is a little bit not the norm for me and some of the students. So first time I met this student was actually in the restroom. Not always a most pleasant time to meet a student under those circumstances. And so throughout the school year, her and I got to get to know each other, and actually Miss Williams pretty well. It definitely took a team, and it took a lot of effort on her end to walk across that stage on June 4th. One of the things I have to say about her, and when I was thinking about the students I was going to talk about today, I really wanted to come up with a word. And all I could think about for her was resiliency. She had to go through a lot throughout the school year. She was living with her grandmother. The grandmother was in the hospital. She had to find her own way to get to school in order to be able to walk across that stage. Once all of our seniors, as you know, like that last week, they come through, they go to senior picnic. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to attend that because she had to finish up and take the WISE test. And so with that resiliency, she would come in day after day and finally was able to pass the WISE to be able to walk across the stage. So I'm so very proud of her to have that resiliency to be able to do that. The second student I want to talk about is a student I actually met my first year when I got to Manassas Park High School in the 2018-2019 school year. And I met this student because we were walking, I can't remember if the buses were over at the middle school because something was going on at the high school and we had to reroute the buses. And he was eating out of a container, so him and I started a conversation. And when I really started to get to know him, come to find out, he basically was, living on his own at age 17 at the high school, working, supporting himself. And so I asked him about cooking, and come to find out he was like cooking in a rice maker, right? So, a team of us kind of got together and to see how we could support him and help him, get out of cooking out of a rice maker and get him that ability to be able to eat and live a little bit better on his own. Some of you guys would have known him coming across the stage or ringing the bell. Throughout COVID, he got married and had a daughter, and very proud of his daughter. And so just to see him be able to graduate and just knowing where he came from. So the word I came up for him was resolve, because it just took a lot of effort on his end, and he was so proud to be able to walk across that stage. The third student I want to talk about is one that's been in Manassas Park for a long time. So I've known him since like the elementary school. And this is actually a student that was a 3-year senior. And so the word I have for him is perseverance. During COVID and, trying to get some of our students back in the building was a little bit difficult. So during that time, he was actually working and trying to maintain school as well. And so it was extremely difficult. So he did come back and do an extra year with us in order to get his diploma to walk across that stage. With all of that, I do want to say with all of our students, and especially these 3, I think of the word teamwork, because it takes teamwork with our teachers. And I could shout out all of our teachers, but I do want to shout out a few, if that's okay with you guys. So for one of our students, Miss Batts, which is one of our CTE teachers, gave up timeless amount of time during her planning to work with one of our students, the student that was our 3rd-year senior, just to help him get across the stage and pass the SOLs that he had to pass. The first student I spoke about, the one that I had to Uber to get to work, Miss Everett, I would text her at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she would be texting this student, okay, you can come in and get remediated by Mr. Green, which is one of our instructional assistants, that would come in and remediate her to get her, to pass the WISE test. Mr. Smithberger gave up countless plannings to work with the students. And that's just to name a few of our teachers that just go above and beyond and really care about, what happens with our students, why they're in the building, and once they leave. So thank you. I know I talked a lot, but as you can tell, I'm very passionate about our students, and I'm so grateful that, these 3 I was able to talk about. There's many more that we could have stories about, but those are the 3 that were really dear to my heart this year. So thank you.
Thanks. Good morning. It has been an absolute pleasure spending this first year getting to know the students and being able to serve them. And today I want to highlight 3 students that I've had the pleasure of getting to know and their success stories. So our first student, and I'm going to speak in generals if that's okay. This senior was very, very familiar with adversity. She was having a very difficult childhood that included being raised by a grandmother, and unfortunately had some serious financial struggles in the home. She began experimenting with drugs early and had an overdose experience in her junior year. However, this senior, after having to repeat several courses and struggling with crippling test anxiety that took some hugs from me and some potato chips, was able to overcome and be able to walk across the stage. And so excited to share that she plans to join NOVA in the fall. So very excited about her. Second student that I would like to talk about joined Manassas Park High School as an 18-year-old student who was an ESOL Level 1. And while he was studying at Manassas Park High School, he earned an advanced diploma, worked nightly in construction, but showed up every single day to do the work. He graduated with a 3.6 GPA and will be joining NOVA in the fall as well. And my last senior that I want to speak about, it's a little personal with her struggle, really struggled, had some real personality issues with other students, some peer conflicts, and during COVID had a baby. And made a very difficult decision to be able to do something wonderful for that child and to do something wonderful for herself. And this student plans to attend NOVA as well, but she wants to major in a field in which she can help other teen mothers who are faced with very difficult decisions, such as what to do with your baby. And I thank you so much for the opportunity today to be able to share these stories.
Thank you so much. And I just have to comment, it is so nice to see the bottom part of your face.
It's been a struggle all year with my dad being sick, my sister having surgery, and I'm always in a mask so I can see my family. So it has been a struggle.
Thank you. Oh, any comments from the board?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing the stories. They're very inspiring. And I'm new to the board, but it's very clear from the stories that you shared that you at Manassas Park High School have created a culture and climate of support and care. And it was really evident through the story. So thank you so much for giving me that little view into what it's like at Manassas Park High School. I appreciate it.
Yep. I echo that. Thank you all so much for even the hard work that you're doing, and being able to have those stories just shows the relationships that you even have with all the students. And so thank you, and congratulations on another class.
Okay. Mr. Alexander?
Make sure I'm not muted.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, these are the talks that we love to hear. Just being able to hear about the wonderful stories and the interaction and the extra miles that staff go for the kids. It really just kind of reminds everybody what we're doing this for.
I'll jump in. I think everyone knows I had 2 graduates in the class of 2022. Jimmy had an extended time at the high school because of his special needs. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for a tremendous high school experience for both of my children. And all of the children here in Manassas Park. You guys went out of your way to make sure that the children in self-contained were included in senior activities, included in the King's Dominion trip. You provided tremendous support to all students, regardless, what their struggles were. That was evident in both student speakers, who I'm gonna shout out because they were just so exceptional. Serinda Check, and Stephen Bonilla Fuentes. Stephen Bonilla I taught in Manassas City for several years, and it has been the pleasure and the honor of a lifetime watching him be as successful as he is. And, I look forward to all of the next steps. You've provided tremendous support to all of these kids in some really, really exceptional times. And I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the kids themselves, because I know for this class, a good chunk of them were entirely virtual the entire year last year. And I know it was very hard to come back, and they engaged with it different ways, but they finished, and they finished the best they could, as strong as they could. Many of our juniors overcame credit deficits because they struggled with the online modality. They got in there, they rolled up their sleeves, they worked. I know one kid who was ready to drop out last year, and because of his time in Cougars Connects, he graduated with an advanced diploma. There are so many stories that I know personally as well, and that just speak to the culture and support that are provided at the high school by not just teachers and not just administration, but the culture has permeated into our own kids. Is it perfect all the time? No. Are there, do we hear about fights and stuff? Yes. But largely, our kids come up through the school system as family. And I see the exceptional relationships that are formed. There is not a place I go in this town without, not even, one of my children, the number of people that acknowledge Jimmy, who is in a classroom off by himself. And I see it with the other students in special education. They are just so well loved and well supported by this community. and it shows. I want to thank you. I wanted to give a couple special shout outs too, because I know we have a couple of teachers. Many of the kids started with Spags for math, Spagnolo, and he engaged the kids from jump and really got them to be successful in high school. Ms. Carly, I know for many of my son's peers who graduated, was life-changing in her perspectives. Gilbride is another, and I'm Bill, the woman that teaches 111, 112. West, yeah, she is was a tremendous support to so many of those kids, and really got them back engaged after being off for an entire year plus. But I'm honestly sad this journey has come to an end as a parent, but I look forward continuing to support the highest school and to support you all and to support our students going forward as a board member, a parent, an advocate, and a community member. I thank you from the bottom of my heart so much for having a successful graduation, and to the class of 2022, I love you with my whole heart. All right. Upcoming meetings, regular school board meeting Monday, August 1st, 6:59 p.m. here in the school board meeting room. Seeing no further business in front of us, I'll go ahead and call us adjourned.